length of a 5 blade.
Yeah, I think it's about like the length of a 5. Yeah.
Does it have any of the numbers written on your blades, like 3/8 or millimeters?
Yeah.
Or?
This is a 3/8.
Yeah, when I do my notes, I
millimeter.
write the slash 3/8, 5/8.
These have them,
the
and
numbers
basically it's
change.
our tarot
That
cones.
says 10 millimeter on it?
Yep. This one. I just picked up the 2. I just picked up the 2.
Oh.
Yeah, I put that
Before
one back.
that was the 6
Yes.
millimeter, which is a 5 blade.
Yes, you're correct. Yeah.
I'm with you.
So the other thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and cut in her rear angulation with the 2. So the same thing like with the poodle, if you can find it. That the pin bone, which is the butt bone back here, between there and just above the hop. Now she turns her feet out a little bit in the rear, so we have to be really careful. She's what we call easty-westy. Her front toe is over here a little bit, okay, instead of over here. So she's toed out in the back. So we want to make her look like she's not. So we just let her stand how she normally stands. And then we're just going to take that out right there. Just at the very back of the leg. Don't curve around the side of the thigh or anything like that. This is how you get the cute little round butt.
But with the schnauzer, you curve around the thigh.
Yeah. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop this back a little bit into her shoulder layback. It's just going to save me some time with scissors. Now the thing with this breed is you can't go up underneath here, okay? So when you do that, you cut off most of the head. This has to come in with the ear and with the rest of the head. You take your clippers up in there, you take all that stuff off, you're losing the shape of your head. So make sure when you either scissor this part or you trim it that you're not going in underneath of the ear. You're just taking off that shoulder bone area. And you're really just skimming that off to save you some time. And now see, she already looks like she's got more neck.
You're really separating the head from the body.
Yep. And that's really all I would do with clippers if I was gonna compete. And I probably wouldn't even have cut her shoulder in. I would have just done it with scissors. The Spinoni's dying.
Yep.
Nobody's paying attention to me.
Yeah, he's a big baby.
It's awful. Okay, so then everything else about this dog is round, 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 round. And their legs are big and fluffy.
Is the base of her tail a little shorter than
Yes,
normal?
because what you want is you want that. It's not shorter than normal. It needs to be shorter.
Oh.
You want the base of the tail to blend right in with the top line. Because what they always do is they pull this tail up like this. And if you see her moving, her tail goes up like that. So if you leave all this really long here and is rubbing against her back, it mats. And it really doesn't contribute to the length of the tail at all. So you can either scissor it in with your top line when you do that, or you can scissor it in this way when you do your back side and go down the side. And then I usually just kind of leave it till the end, till I know what my little butt's gonna look like. I'm trying to get her to turn a little bit. She's wanting to go the other direction. Yeah? Good. Okay. Where did I put? Don't want those. You tell I just got my scissors back. Where's my curves? Here, these will do. These are my gaiters. All right, so everything else about her is pretty much kind of the length that we want because she's been growing out from that pet trim. So we're now just gonna refine the shape a little bit. So this is a rolling underline. So you come from the tip of this rear toe and up around the knee, and then this would just roll into the rest of the body. They don't have a really distinct tuck up like a poodle. You just want it all to kind of blend together, pretty much basically the way it is. I do not like that. That's gonna annoy the pee out of me. I don't know why they sound like that. Probably need oil. I know, Iz. You're being a good girl. Yes, you are. All right, so whenever I'm competing or certifying or anything like that I'm under a time limit, I have a routine, okay? I would do, so she would come in just like she is now. Her pads of feet are done, her pee-pee's been shaved, her hiney's been shaved. You can keep around the eye shaved up until, 3 or 4 weeks before, just for maintenance on them because their eyes run and that kind of thing. You can keep that trimmed, but make sure you can show that you did it when you get there. So what I do is I come in with all prepped, and then I do all of that clipper work first. Okay, I cut this in, I trim around the eyes, and I trim around the lips, and I do all that stuff, and then I do any clipper work I'm gonna do, and then I start scissoring. And you do that in a way where you wanna do the front, and then the back, and then you pull it in together in the middle. So that way, if you do make any mistakes, it gives you the ability to fix what you did. Because if you start in an odd position all the time, you get yourself out of order and you start to lose time trying to backtrack and figure out where you were and what you were doing. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna come from this level top line with my curved shears, and I'm gonna come down around the hip like this, and I'm gonna go straight down and flare out at the bottom to the table, just like with the poodle, only you don't have any poodle feet, but you want it to be longer at the bottom than at the top. And then the little rear end on these guys is like super easy because they grow hair here, and you've trimmed this out already, so now all you have to do is just trim around it and blend it into where you already clippered. And now you got a cute little round butt. And like I said, especially with this foot, the one that she turns out the most, you just have to let her stand on it and follow it down. And then you do straight up and down on the inside of the leg as well. Flare out a little bit when you get to the bottom, because you're still looking for those parallel lines. You're still looking for, if you take your comb here, it looks like a capital A in there when you're done. Like I said, she's pretty, her length is about what we would want, so she would be even fluffier than this when you get there. Because I do that pet trim on her where I take the comb down the inside and outside of her legs and all of that kind of thing. And you want to do these guys the same way, like when you do the Cocker Spaniel, you want to pull that hair up in between their toes. And then fluff the top and make sure you're not pulling any hair from the top. And make sure you trim that off. Flat around the outside. And if you take this stuff off, especially with this foot that turns out, you're gonna end up with too much hair off the top. That's how you get the little pointy foot and not the round foot.
So when you take too much hair off the top of the foot, that's how you get the pointy foot.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sometimes I don't even know how I did that. I'm like, how did I do that?
So, I know. I used to do the same thing. I'm like, why did I do?
Yeah.
How did I do that again?
Go wrong? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At what
Yeah.
point?
Why? I didn't do that. I didn't do that on purpose.
Yeah.
The website?
Same. Yeah.
Yeah, put her top in.